Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today, oh man, I already forgot something. Hold on. Let us resume. Okay, so today's video is going to be a chatty get ready with me. I haven't done one of these in so long. And you know, I have some time, so I figured let me put on some makeup and let me film me doing that. So I'm just pressing into the skin some Wander Beauty Glow Ahead face oil. It is so good and my skin is very dry. I don't know if anyone else feels this way, but sometimes I feel like I can't breathe after I talk. Like, I'm obviously anxious filming videos with sound because I haven't done it in a while. So now when I do it, I just get so anxious that like I run out of breath. Just girl things. I'm gonna go in with the Tarte Base Tape Primer. So happy 2021. It is officially 2021. We're officially over 2020. But, you know, are we? Because here's the thing. The way we reacted in 2020 really shaped the way 2021 was gonna work out. If we had just done what scientists told us to do, like we'd be able to go outside again and my industry would be back maybe, but we didn't. And I don't feel like we'll be back to normal until 2022, which is kind of sad to say. So, you know, like happy 2021, but if we don't do anything, we're going to be stuck here in 2022 as well. I got a seasonal job on top of the other job that I have, and it is retail. It was retail. It is. I'm still there. And it was my first time working, like really working Black Friday in retail. It was rough. Cyber Monday was even worse, believe it or not. So I respect, I mean, I always have worked retail, but I respect people who work in like warehouses or fulfillment centers in retail so much more. Because let me tell you, it's not easy. Like, it was a lot. The money's good. But it, like, so draining. I actually hurt my foot because I walk, wow, at the height of the holiday season, I think I was walking 10 miles at least a day. It was tough the few first months of the pandemic. I know I haven't been filming a lot of YouTube videos, so let me just catch you up on that. It was a tough few first months of the pandemic. I was working almost full-time at this pharmacy that I work at, part-time, and I was delivering, and it was just like every single house I was delivering to, it was like a COVID case, and that was terrifying. My mom works, she's a home health aide, so she was a essential worker as well, and she was out doing things. My dad works as an essential worker as well, so he was out doing things, and my younger brother is an essential worker as well, so we were all out there all the time, and it was just terrifying. Like, I have never felt so low in my life as I was during that time, because it just felt like nothing was really gonna get better. I'm using some ColourPop concealer, Pretty Fresh concealer, because I use the ColourPop Pretty Fresh foundation. And I gotta say, like, the light in the tunnel, I guess, was when we did actually start to flatten the curve a little bit. But that makes it a little bit more disheartening now that, like, we're going against science and scientists and history. And I have a history podcast that I'm rebooting, and I talked a little bit about like the way America has always handled pandemics. And you know, I used to be like, history repeats itself, and everyone's like, oh, it's so cliche. But the more time I spend doing history things, like in school, I saw it. Now I see it even more. History really repeats itself because we really fail to learn the lessons we were supposed to learn. So, for example, and I'll put the link to my podcast down below, I did an episode on the pandemic of 1918, which was an actual flu pandemic. It was an influenza outbreak. Back then, we had a mask mandate, obviously, because it is an airborne spread virus. You know, by the time it ended, 500,000 Americans had died, which was more than had just died in the First World War, which America was just getting over at the time. And people just didn't seem to care. And there were anti-maskers, and there were people who were, you know, going around and being like, well, this is stupid, like it's not a big deal, but that flu could have killed you like within 3 days of contracting it. And it's so interesting to see the parallels. And I know COVID has just killed people pretty quickly as well. So I feel like we're in the same space that we were in before. Like, we're literally letting history repeat itself and no one's listening yet again, which is so frustrating for me as a historian. And I think that when global things happen, especially all around America, Americans don't... This is obviously very political, and I'm kind of excited to post my first political thing on my channel, but I don't really feel like we step up and help one another. In this case, I mean, we have a whole different monster, a whole different world of technology, a whole different way to spread misinformation, and unfortunately, instead of like learning how to navigate through that misinformation, people just don't care to, which is so, again, like disheartening at best. One of the first things I was taught when I was in history school was like how to vet a source, and it's so easy. It's like the easiest thing you do. You go down, you see if it's from a reputable article, a reputable scientific journal, a reputable writer, you know, where their sources were from, and if they're reputable, they're reputable. But if it's like, where is it? There's this meme going around and it's like someone's cited source was like, it came to me once in a dream. And I feel like that's kind of where people are getting their information now. They think that Facebook is the end-all be-all of information, and it's really not. For some people that didn't grow up with the internet like my generation did, it's really tough for them, and I get it. And it's also, I understand wanting to see your side of the story, like what you want to believe. It's so much better when you find information that backs that up, rather than actually searching and recognizing like the thing you didn't want happened. Like, when it's not true, what you want it to be true, when it's not true, it sucks. But that's life. You know, life isn't always so easy, and you know, not everything will fit your narrative. So it's kind of what I've been dealing with from the pandemic, because having to work every single day as an essential worker has really just been so tough. Like, it's been so tough to have people just genuinely not care about your well-being or your health because they think that they're right. And I think that's one thing that we lack as a whole, is like empathy. And I think it's really shown itself during the pandemic, is just like there's no empathy at all for anyone. It's very individualistic, which is fine, but you have to be at least empathetic, you know? Like, you have to understand that people are going through things. I mean, I've had customers berate me because I asked them to put on their mask. My dad had COVID, and like I saw what it did to him, and he, luckily, you know, he's fine now. But I've never seen him so sick in his life. And it was scary. And it was scary, you know, not knowing if I was going to catch it. Not knowing if my brother or my mom was going to catch it. You know, I think that we all just need to be a little more sensitive about each other's comfort zones and not so quick to be like, you're 100% wrong. So yeah, that's what got me down about COVID, obviously. And the holidays just didn't feel the same because they weren't. I haven't really seen friends. I've only seen my boyfriend because we both have decided that while he's not an essential worker and he's not at risk, he's okay with like putting himself at risk to see me, which you shouldn't have to do. I don't know. So it's been really tough, this whole pandemic. That's why I kind of haven't wanted to sit down, because I knew it was going to devolve into this. I just feel like, you know, sometimes I don't know how to feel, and I think that's okay. It's been hard to be creative during the pandemic, definitely, because I, as an artist, draw inspiration from the world around me. And I think a lot of artists do as well. And I'm not just talking like makeup artists, I mean like as an actor and a dramaturg and a writer, I draw inspiration from the world, and when there's no world really going on, there's no life going on to draw inspiration from, it becomes tough. For most of the pandemic, I just really have not been posting on this page. I do BoxyCharm unboxing sometimes because it's like one thing that really brings me joy, and it reminds me of like what used to be. I think we all have to come to terms with the fact that it'll never be the same again. And that's okay, and hopefully we'll learn from it in a way that's productive and, you know, not regressive for us, and we can move on and do things that we want to do and still have a life. But yeah, going into 2021, I really thought I'd be a lot more hopeful for the future than I am right now. I mentioned no products because I went on a COVID rant. I was using the Persona Cosmetics Caramel Blush. I used an Hourglass highlighter. And now I'm gonna go into the So Jaded palette from ColourPop. I guess if you watched my favorites videos, you'll see all these products. But on a higher note, because I've got this new, well, I got the seasonal job that ended up being, I got hired past seasonal. I've had some more time and I've been in a better work environment with, you know, different people and different experiences, and it's really helped me feel a little bit less depressed, I guess. So I wanted to come back down and put on some makeup and film some videos when I can. You know, it's still tough with everyone being home. I don't know, I've started to buy things and make myself happy, buy things that I really wanted to try and test and use and just enjoy, you know, life while we have it. I think that's the one thing I've really learned from this pandemic is we have to really enjoy our life. It's so precious. And I'm not like spiritual or anything, so for me it's just life and death. There's no afterlife for me. There's no pearly gates or anything. I think this pandemic has made me, who's a little bit of a workaholic, really understand the importance of friends and family and being with people that inspire you and make you happy and make the days a little bit brighter. So I'm hoping that this year, you know, I can get more of that and we can all get more of that, just being with people that make us happy. Because at the end of the day, that's what life's all about. I also, this is such a tangent, I also watched the movie Soul. I sobbed my way through that. I like really sobbed my way through that movie. Because it just talks about like not really feeling enough, and sometimes, you know, we just feel that, and how beautiful like the moments, like you aren't just your career aspirations. And I think it's such a good movie. It's such a healthy thing to discuss openly, because man, does the world make you feel like you're nothing but your career aspirations sometimes, and you have no purpose if it isn't for doing that. But we do. I've been watching a lot of things during the pandemic. Been watching The Crown, which was incredible. I watched season 4 first, and then I went back and I'm watching the other seasons because season 4 was so good. I went on a little research rampage about Diana though, after that, Princess Diana. Because you always hear the conspiracy theory like, oh, the British Crown killed Princess Diana. Did they? But I really enjoyed The Crown. I really enjoy seeing history in an interesting and conversational way. Like, it's entertaining, but it's also, you learn a lot because the mistakes of the past they talk about in such a, you know, open way. I watched all of Insecure. I have so many feelings about that. It's such a good show. Did I want to put this on my eye like this? It's been such a while since I've done like a neutral eye. It feels weird on me. I'm Team Molly, which is probably the most controversial statement that I could make on this YouTube channel right here. Because if you watch Insecure, you know that you have like a favorite, either Molly or Issa. For me, I'm Team Molly. I watched all of Dave, which is a really funny TV show. I've watched Miss America, which is another good, like, entertaining history series. I watched How To with John Wilson, which was a really good show on HBO Max. Like, deep, but I didn't think it was going to be deep when I first watched it. I watched Big Mouth when it came out. I'm going to watch this. Disenchantment comes out today. And I've watched a few documentaries. I watched the Epstein documentary, the Ted Bundy documentary. Here's the thing with me. I'm terrified of serial killers. I'm terrified of criminals. But if I know they're caught or they're dead, it makes it easier for me to watch because I'm so intrigued by how people get to that point. I am such a pacifist and like murder scares me. Like, I could never imagine harming another human being. But I'm just interested, like, how did you get to that point in your life where you're like, I'm gonna harm a human being, and I'm gonna harm multiple human beings and be okay with it? I'm curious. Have you guys read books? The one thing I wish I did over the pandemic was read more. I used to be that kid that would read books nonstop. Like, books were my only friend when I was little. And then as I grew older, I feel like the mental capacity I needed for that really kind of dwindled. Something happens when you get older. You burn out. I don't know how else to say it. You get burnt out so easily from life. Life is it's difficult. And so I haven't really been able to read. So yeah, that's pretty much been my life. I am manifesting a few things for 2021, but they're really like self-reflections. I want to love myself a little more, and I say that every year, but I've made some leaps. I've made some strides, but I have this bad habit of whenever any part of my life changes even a little bit, like if you're moving to a different department at work, I freak out. I have an anxiety attack and I don't feel like I'm good enough. I have severe imposter syndrome, even though like I don't know, like even my podcast, I researched these topics for like 2 weeks, man. I use primary source documents, I use JSTOR, I use books, I use everything I can, videos if I can find them, and I still feel like the information I give, I'm so nervous that it's not accurate when I know it's accurate, you know? So I have a bad habit of just not believing in myself. I want to do that. I definitely want to love myself a little more. I want to learn to be okay with the chaos of life and learn to be okay with the journey, because I'm turning 25 this year and I feel like I haven't accomplished anything in my life. And I know like right when I was getting to somewhere, this pandemic happened. And in a lot of ways, I think that was why it was tough for me when the pandemic really started, because I felt like cheated almost. Like at least some people got the chance to be established in their careers, but mine was just starting. And when I got furloughed, I had just done this project that I was so proud of, and it was going to happen. It was for a theater company, the one that I worked for, and then it couldn't. And it was like all my hard work for a year that I had done. It was tough. It was tough to transition out of that. But I'm hoping that by summer we'll be able to have outdoor performances and I'll be able to go back to theater in some way. I miss going to classes. I can't wait to go back to class. Not like college class, but you know I'm an overachiever, so I go to class even though I'm done with college. And I think I'm still flirting with the idea of reapplying to an MFA program, and you know, we'll see. But yeah guys, that completes this video. I know I was gonna tell you, I told you it was like a get ready with me, but I told you none of the products I use, so I guess if you want to see them, you might as well go check out my favorites video, which I probably posted before this one, if this one goes up at all, so I'll link that down below. I'll also link my podcast down below. And you know, if you want, I'm flirting with this idea too, of maybe doing some history stuff on this channel. And you know, the thing with that is that history is inherently political, and I always have my own biases. I think they're biases that I've gathered from the information I've learned, but it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea, which I'm okay with actually, but it's going to be authentically me. So if you guys want to see that, then just let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you in my next video.